Blast from the Past is the 6th episode of Transformers Animated, airing back January 12, 2008. In it, Megatron reveals himself to Sumdac and helps create the Dinobots. Prowl thinks there's more to them than meets the eye. Bulkhead is trying to be more like Prowl, and shenanigans ensue. The entrance to Dino Drive is a pretty obvious reference to the gates of Jurassic Park. Kinda crazy to think in a couple years Hasbro will release official crossover figures for Jurassic Park. Totally want. I like that you can see Sumdac Tower in the background, a rare sight of Optimus's trailer. Sari's gonna teach the group about dinosaurs. Sari looks a little tall in this shot. Usually she's shorter than Tutorbot. Bulkhead arrives fashionably late, knocking over every car in the parking lot, unlike something like a giant fire truck. They drive in. Just like in G1, Optimus transforms, and there goes his trailer into the abyss.
Many of the animals replicated here are from the Jurassic era, which means they are over 200 million years old.
Just like every single piece of dinosaur media, they get this wrong. Not all these dinosaurs lived in the same period.
We've been around for over 10 billion years.
How old are you people?
Much has been learned about dinosaurs from the bones, especially those found in ancient tar pits.
So we get some dinosaur facts until Bulkhead starts messing with things. Birds are robot spies. Bulkhead makes a big mess of everything. After taking an episode off, Megs is back. He takes over Tutorbot, and he learns about fossil fuels being made out of dinosaur bones, which is a misconception, and they're still used today, which is a sad reflection of reality. I know electric cars weren't really a thing back when this came out, but that's also pretty realistic. People will still be so stubborn not to switch over, even in the future. But also, fossil fuels are actually made out of, condensed, crushed up foliage from the prehistoric times. Megatron finally reveals himself to Sumdac. One commercial break and fixing Tutorbot later, Sumdac explains how he found the head. He was able to make robots of today because of Megatron. And Megs is like, well, that's fine. I'll go meet my Autobot friends as soon as you make me a new body. But we can start on these dinosaur things. Meanwhile, Bulkhead and Prowl are doing ninja poses, and it goes about as well as you would think. I like when Prowl wakes up from getting knocked out, it has a little distortion effect because he's a robot. It's 2008, so we're in that kind of weird period of dinosaur history. We know T-Rexes stand vertical rather than standing like a kangaroo, but this is before we found out about feathers. Meanwhile, at Lake Erie, which is a little south of Detroit, and this island doesn't exist, especially with this what seems to be a volcano on it. Prowl took Bulkhead here to do some ninjaing, but he's too clumsy. Back in Detroit, it's apparently the 22nd century. He reveals the Dinobots, which is their first reappearance since G1, other than Grimlock's name being reused in 2001. There's that one guy with the mustache and the mullet from last episode. Megatron decides to take over the Dinobots. Abere, 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 makure, get up! So the Autobots are on the scene, but Bulkhead's just standing around like a lump until he accesses the situation and decides to hit it with a giant ball and fails. So Bumblebee and Ratchet decide to cross their streams, which actually works. And Sari decides to help out by giving them a key juice, which blows the flesh off of them. So Sumdac's back to the drawing board of these guys. So Megatron's upset he's spaghetti, saying his prospects are Grim locked in his prison, which ends up inspiring the name Grimlock, as he learns how to speak. The key created life! Grimlock is played by David Kaye, who also plays Optimus and Lugnut. He's instantly rebellious, saying that he's the leader. The Dinobots side with him, until Megatron reveals that cars and trucks drink gasoline, which is made from dinosaur. Especially the evil ones that transform into cars. Grimlock says car robot bad, which is kind of funny because Robots in Disguise 2001 is also called Car Robots in Japan. And that was the last time we saw Grimlock before this. Also, the Dinobots can all breathe fire. We'll learn later this is because Megatron designed them to, and Sumdac apparently didn't question why would they need two fuel engines and be able to breathe fire. They somehow get out of the tower really quickly. The police are on the scene, and Fanzone gets his car crushed. He retaliates, but doesn't do anything. So the Dinobots are on the scene and they lead them away from everyone. Meg takes responsibility for the Dinobots messing up. Soup's head looks kind of big in this scene, am I wrong? There's fighting and Bulkhead starts accessing the situation. And he decides just to be himself. But the fire is so hot it's burning the asphalt of the road. So everyone decides to use this to advantage, trapping them. Snarl's horn nose is miscolored in this shot. And they somehow get stuck despite being giant robots. So they're able to put them in the futuristic prison, and tomorrow we're going to melt them down. But Prowl feels that they have a spark, a soul. But Optimus is like, whatever. But tomorrow they're gone. I like the detail that the Securitrons are all smashed up. Back on Dinobot Island, they've been dumped there by Bulkhead and Prowl. Prowl removes his logo, which can project a hologram to cover them up so no one knows they're there, even though one of them can fly. Prowl has a new logo, a lesson about be yourself or something.
Cars and trucks bad. Nature good.
So real.
Stupid nature.
Also so real. Also, Grimlock is able to transform now, and he has his Autobot logo somehow. This is a pretty good episode. I like the stuff about Bulkhead learning to be himself, and not just be Prowl. I like the stuff about Prowl sensing the soul in the Dinobots. It's awesome seeing the Dinobots make their comeback to the franchise since G1, and I think they're handled really well. It's cool seeing Megatron reveal himself. Overall, I'll give this episode a 7 out of 10. I really like Grimlock's design. Like everyone else, it's kind of just a G1 exaggeration. But I do love that the feet of his dinosaur mode end up becoming his claws in robot mode instead of them just hanging off of his arms. I'm kind of whatever of him actually having a mouth in robot mode, but I do like that it resembles his dinosaur mode's mouth. And again, it's in that middle stage that I wish he did have feathers, but whatever. We'll talk about the other Dinobots when we see their robot modes later. But interesting though, this is the first series of Transformers to refer to the Triceratops Dinobot as Snarl rather than Slag. Despite going into production with that name, I guess around this point they realized, despite also being a term used primarily referring to when you melt an ore from its dirt and stuff. In Beast Wars, they use it as a substitute for the word shit. In the UK, slag is another word for slut. Make sure to hit that like button, share with your friends, comment your thoughts and opinions about the episode, and subscribe if you're new.